Welcome everyone. A big day in Vanderbilt University history, and certainly with our basketball program. Thanks for coming out to share our excitement. I'll briefly just run through our agenda, our format. We will first hear from the Director of Athletics, David Williams, to be followed by our Chancellor, Nicholas Zeppos. Finally, Coach Bryce Drew will make some opening remarks, and then the three will take questions. A couple of bits of house cleaning. For those that might have their phones activated, please put them on silent. And when we get to the media questions, we'd like you to raise your hand. We'll pass you a microphone so that people can hear what the question is, and it also will help with our live stream. And also so that state your name and who you represent. With that, let's have Director of Athletics, David Williams.
Thanks, Robert. Thank you all. Thanks for coming. About 9 days ago, we had another press conference. And at that point in time, we confirmed that Coach Stallings had taken a job at Pittsburgh and that we had started immediately search for our next head basketball coach. I told you at that point in time that we were going to be deliberate, we were going to move efficiently, we wouldn't let speed dictate how fast we move, because we wanted to get the best possible person we could. And that was going to be a person who had head coaching experience, was a winner, but most importantly was a fit for Vanderbilt. And I also said not everybody fits Vanderbilt. And so we took our time, we put together a group. First off, as I told you, we hired Eddie Fogel as a consultant. And we did that because Eddie had a lot of experience, one, as a former basketball coach here, and two, as a parent of a student athlete here. He has a love for Vanderbilt and he understood Vanderbilt. And we said, Eddie, we want you to make sure that you got in front of us people that understand what this place is about and want to be here. And there was a lot of interest in this job, an awful lot of interest. And Eddie did his job, and then there were four of us that spent those 9 days actually coming to this conclusion. And I want to thank first Eddie, but I also want to thank Candace Lee. I think Candace is out there. Candace, where's Candace? Candace is our Senior Deputy Associate Athletic Director, and Candace played basketball here and has 3 degrees from Vanderbilt. She understands Vanderbilt. I want to thank John Ingram. John is out there. John, who is a lifelong resident of Nashville, a businessman, a member of our board, and the chair of the board's athletic committee. And then I want to thank our chancellor and our leader, Nick Zeppos. Nick, who's been here 29 years and has been a professor, the provost, and in the last 8 years, the chancellor of this great university. So we had people that came from different areas that had different perspectives, but the common element was they love this place, they know this city. And so we spent a lot of time, and I know a lot of people, including a lot of people in the press, suggested that we were sitting in Wichita, looking at people, and strangely enough, we never made it to Wichita, but we were everywhere else in America. Between the 5 of us, we covered this country, and we spent 9 days, and in particular for John and Nick, who had to pull away from their other jobs and put time in there. But everybody put 24/7 into getting to this place, and we got there. We picked the person who wanted to be here. We picked the person that's the winner. His pedigree, his coaching family tree is enormous. We picked the person that understands this place, and we picked the person that in the interview, as we sat there, said, we will play in the national championship game. So I'm going to turn it over to our leader for the honor of actually our coach to us for the first time, our leader and our partner in this, Nick Zeppos. Chancellor Zeppos.
Okay, it's a privilege to be here and to have this exciting announcement. And my job is a fascinating one. When I hire a new dean, I hire a chemistry professor, I don't get everyone in the world calling me saying, here's who you should hire to be the next dean. It might take 10 or 12. And it's also an interesting process because before you hire a coach, people think you've already hired 10 other coaches. And I was out this weekend before I met this remarkable young man and said, hey, I heard you hired so-and-so. And I was like, whoa. Well, they interviewed him yesterday. And I said, well, I hope they didn't go without me because I'm going to pick the next coach with David. So it was a really interesting process. But for me, what name kept coming up was this next Vanderbilt coach. And it always seemed to come back to him. And it really came back to Bryce, I would say, and these are really the reasons, particularly after I spent a big part of Sunday with him. It's not just his outstanding record as a head coach. That is really important to us. But it's who's going to be the teacher, the mentor, the coach to these fine young men. Who's going to be a leader in the community? Who's going to be a leader on the campus? Who is going to set standards of integrity and winning competition at a level that we expect at Vanderbilt? And I became very convinced that Bryce Drew was our choice. I've been around sports for a long time. He learned from the best. He's got a wonderful family. His father, Homo Drew, is also the head coach of Valparaiso. And he instilled in Bryce and his brother Scott, who's the head coach at Baylor. We do have that Big 12 matchup. And so I'm already talking to John Skipper about that one. So just a strong sense of character, integrity, determination, excellence, values that exemplify a great human being, and of course a great coach. When I sat down and talked to him, he said, I'm an intense guy, I run my practice a certain way, but this game is fun. And this is a fun game for fans, for the players, and that really, really attracted me to Bryce. So he will be our new coach, he'll be our new leader, and he will be a great, great representative of Vandy. He's also seemed to have done it all. He's kind of like a Forrest Gump character. Word is that he played college basketball, was pretty good, playing for his father. And then I guess he played an SEC team at one point and made a pretty stunning shot. And so he knows our conference, he knows the level of competition. He's played in the NBA, he's won 4 conference championships in 5 years, and he's been honored 3 times as Conference Coach of the Year. He is here with his wife Tara, their 2-year-old son Bryson, who's already doing this. And I could not be happier than to be introducing right now our new men's basketball head coach, Bryce Drew. Bryce, welcome.
Thank you all very much. Thank you very much for everyone in the community coming out for this day. It's a very special day for myself and for my family. And I'm thrilled that people were able to make it here to be part of this. You know, first I want to thank the Chancellor. Chancellor Zeppos has been spectacular. From the moment I met him, he made me feel very welcome. I can see why he's so successful, why Vanderbilt's so successful. He's just welcomed me from the very first instant I shook his hand. Vice Chancellor Williams has been phenomenal through the whole process. Great mentor, has so much wisdom that he's passed on along the way. I really enjoyed meeting John Ingram, had a great time talking to him, talking on the phone. And then Candace, you know, we're never gonna play one-on-one, Candace, but obviously really enjoyed getting to know you through this whole process. It's been an extremely exciting time these last few weeks. And to cap it off, to be here today in front of you is pretty much the icing on the cake. There's been a lot of different opportunities in the past that I've looked at to be the head basketball coach, but none of them brought the full package that Vanderbilt brings. I'm very interested in developing young men. Obviously, we want to be out on the court. We want to win a lot of games. We want to win championships. But I'm also very interested in our young men becoming men when they leave here. And not only winning a lot of games and having options to pro careers, but also having degrees and learning how to be great husbands and great fathers and great people in the community that will go on and make a positive effect in the future. And so what drew me to Vanderbilt and why I've always admired and liked this job in this university is the full package you get here. You get to compete at the highest level athletically, but yet you get to learn at the highest level academically. And just from being here a couple hours, I can feel the energy, you can feel how this is a special place. And again, we're extremely excited to be here. When I first thought about Vanderbilt basketball, years ago, my dad, who's a legendary coach, we saw Vanderbilt play. They had a player by the name of Barry Boheen. I don't know if any of you got some people out here that know Barry. And so he used to make, I think, all of these last-second shots and crazy shots and different things. That was kind of my first introduction to Vanderbilt. Then, obviously, with Coach Eddie Fogler, who was gave me great wisdom through this whole process. The years that he had here with Billy McCaffrey, Chris Lawson, that group went in the SEC, phenomenal things there. And I think as we go through the coaches at Vanderbilt and the great history of the basketball program, going to Coach Stallings, what he's done here for 17 years, I think every coach that comes, you want the program to leave at a better place than what you left it. And I think the coaches, we've had here have each taken it a step further than where it was before. As I look at the team and the young men that we just visited with, obviously our goals go beyond just winning games. Here at Vanderbilt, we want to win games nationally. No Vanderbilt team has ever made it to the Final Four, and we would like to be that first Vanderbilt team to get to the Final Four. As I met with these young men, this was another one of the big draws of Vanderbilt is the student athlete that I get to be around on a daily basis. Very focused, very mature, express themselves very well. The type of players that you want representing your school out on the court, on national TV, in front of the media. So had a great time with you guys. Hopefully we're all going to be back next year and be coaching and entertaining everybody. Let's get a hand of everybody back here next year. Yeah. Before we open up for questions, I have my family here. My family's been obviously, a lot to me. I have a great blueprint of what a mentor, a coach is supposed to be like. And my father's won, over 600 games. I think over 70 of his players have gone into education, they're teachers, coaches, and coaches. Just an unbelievable blueprint example. My brother's the head coach at Baylor. Has rebuilt Baylor into a national powerhouse. They've made it to 2 Elite Fours, so we're going to have a competition. He's the first team that can get to the Final Four. He's come one game twice short of it. And, my wife Tara has been just awesome through this whole experience. And she's from the South, so I know she'll feel very, very at home here. But it's a blessing to be in front of you, how this whole process worked, from meeting such fine people and to be here today in front of you as your head coach. I'm very excited to start working with the guys, very excited to be out here, and very excited to make this the toughest place to play in the SEC from here on out. So thank you all very much. God bless. We love any questions that anyone has.
Adam Sparks for the Tennessee. Welcome to Nashville.
Thank you.
What are some of the bedrock principles that you coach with that you think defines you as a coach? Make it fun is one we heard a minute ago. Kind of talk about that if you would.
My history as a player, I think I really bring into coaching and share this with the guys back in the room. And I've been blessed to play in college, play 6 years in NBA, play overseas, And I've been the worst player on the team, I've been the best player on the team. And so I understand what it's like to sit in the chair and have the feelings that they have. And I pride my whole culture as in, understanding. It's the players' team. It's all of us together. It's not coaches versus players. We're all in this together. And so I want feedback. I want them to talk to me. I want conversation. I want them to feel comfortable in what we're doing. And the biggest thing for me is that everybody from players to coaches to managers, to anybody who steps in our practice, that we're on the same page and we're all going the right way in the same direction. So that's the culture that I desire to build, is that camaraderie. And as a coach, you want to win every game, but realistically, not going to win every game. And we want to make sure that we're playing with a lot of passion. We're competing at a very high level, playing as the hardest that we can, and representing this Vanderbilt University and community in a way that makes them proud.
Bryce, Jared Stillman, 102.5 The Game. You said you want to coach Vanderbilt in a Final Four. What has to happen to get to a Final Four?
Obviously, you have to get a lot of breaks. You see teams that maybe shouldn't get there, and they get a lot of breaks, or you get hot at the right time. So there's a lot of things that have to happen, along the way. I think as I look to a lot of teams that win their conference championships, that go to the Final Four, I think defense is something that comes up. You have to be able to string together consecutive stops and get defense. So, I'm very big on we have to be able to get stops on the defensive end. And then on offense, you have to have players, that can make plays. And I want to give our guys and the players who can make plays, I want to give them freedom to be able to go out and be themselves within the team concept and be able to make great plays. So, there's a combination again. You got to have a lot of breaks, and you got to have a really, really good team. And then I think the last piece is you got to have great chemistry. Teams that go that far or go that deep in the tournament are around each other for a whole extra month of the season. And I think you genuinely have to love each other and be able to go to battle with each other.
Bryce Drew, leading at the Channel 2 here in Nashville. Welcome here. You look at Kentucky, top program in this conference. Did you see this as an opportunity? If you can really build a program that's pretty wide open, be one of the better teams consistently year by year?
Definitely. Vanderbilt has a rich basketball tradition. Made the NCAA tournament this last year. I think the SEC is getting better in basketball, much improving. Only 3 teams got in the tournament, but I'd be very surprised if that number doesn't go up, in the years coming. And I think the opportunity at a special place like Vanderbilt to bring in the student athlete that we can. We're a nationally known university, and we definitely want to be nationally known, on a yearly basis at the basketball level.
Hey Bryce, Chris Lee from VandySports.com. Welcome to Nashville first. I'm sure you talked to friends and people in the coaching fraternity when you had to make this decision, because you've had chances to go places. What did those people say, and what was it that, was there one thing or one moment that pushed you over the top to take this job?
It's been a process, looking at things. This is, a job a school that is very highly regarded nationally. And so obviously you always, are noticing how Vanderbilt's doing just because of the prestige of the school. And as things developed and it came, I talked to people and got feedback, and it was amazingly positive feedback from the university to the type of student athlete, to the community, to the city. There were so many positive things, that all came up around this. And it was something my wife and I, we really prayed about. We really talked a lot about this opportunity, and it was something that we felt very strongly, something that we wanted to do, and something that we would really love to, again, build to be a national contender on a yearly basis.
Hi, Coach. Cutler Klein from the Vanderbilt Hustle, locally campus. Based on what you know, how do you think your coaching style might differ from that of Kevin Stallings, who was here before?
I was in my season, so I'm very involved with my team, so I didn't follow, a lot of watching Kevin on the sidelines. I know he's a great coach and won a lot of games. So I couldn't tell you inside the locker room how he is, or on the practice court how he is. I just know how I coach. And again, we're going to work very, very hard and be very focused. But yet, the players are going to have some freedom, and hopefully as they go through the process, at the end of the hard day of working, when they're winning games and having results, those smiles are going to be there, and we're all going to enjoy it together.
Hi, Bruce. Joe Dubin, Channel 4. What sealed the deal for you to come here?
Well, they had to offer the job. That was a big one. so that was definitely a big one. But getting in the room, meeting the people, meeting the chancellor, vice chancellor, talk about John and Candace, meeting the people and just having a conversation, get a feeling for their vision of Vanderbilt. Again, what I really enjoy about this school is athletics. Obviously, we want to win. I'm a coach, and that's my job. We want to win. That's part of it. But I truly felt that they wanted me because of other factors also, because of the development of men, the recruiting of great student athletes, people who would represent, not only university, but also this community, in a great way. And that was something that really drew me to them was wanting the full package of what I could bring and not just necessarily the X and O's or wins and losses.
Coach Robbie Weinstein, Vanderbilt Hustler, and welcome to Vanderbilt.
Thank you.
Coach Drew, both teams have relied somewhat heavily on recruits from the Midwest and also international players. So as you acclimate to recruiting the South a little bit more, how much do you anticipate going back to those player pools to help build your program?
I think one of the unique things about Vanderbilt is we have players from all over the U.S. On this roster right now, and it's a national university that has a national name. You can recruit from anywhere, and even internationally. And obviously, international is something that we've done a lot. It's something we continue to look at here. I know there's very good local players who obviously will recruit, and it'll be pretty much the same philosophy. We only start local, and then we go out and we find the best fits for our university. Some of the players here I've recruited when they were younger. My brothers recruited some of these players, so I'm familiar with some of the guys and recruiting nationally.
Bryce, this may be a little premature, but have you started to assemble a staff, and how far along are you on that?
We're in the process of doing that right now. My first step was getting with the players and visiting with them. I'm very big on, again, players and the players team. I want them to talk to me, give me feedback on things. And so, I visit with them, I'll be visiting with them more, and then we're in the process of going through with the staff. I obviously want to assemble it as soon as possible so we can get things going.
Chris Harris, Channel 4, welcome Bryce. I assume you've met with the players already. How did that go? And just what's that like walking into a new room with a brand new bunch of guys that you're taking over?
Well, it took them 20 minutes to kick me out, not 10, so I took that as a good sign. But jokingly aside, they're fabulous. I was impressed that they, could express their feelings and things that they were thinking, and just their camaraderie together in there. And so, I'm excited to get them on the court, start working with them, and as we build that relationship and that trust factor, hopefully they'll trust me as we make decisions going forward.
Bryce, the city of Nashville is growing rapidly. How do you get out and get those people that move from different cities, similar, I guess, to yourself, to become Vanderbilt fans?
I think one of the big things is having a great product. The school is already a great product in itself. My job as a coach is, we got to give them a great product out on the court that people are drawn to. And again, I don't think if you don't come up and show up every day or every game and play your hardest and you don't have a lot of passion, I think people lose interest. And as we play with a lot of passion and play with all that we have, I think the fans will embrace, how we play and our style of playing, the culture and the type of player that I have. So I think, on the court, obviously, it does that. In my years before coming here as a head coach, we're very involved in the community. We've done over 100 hours of community service every year as a head coach. And so we'll be out in the community, we'll be doing things to help others and to share the blessings that we have, with others in the community.
Hey Bryce, Jonathan Burke from News Show 5, welcome. You mentioned your dad being a legendary coach. Curious to know, how similar are you to your dad in terms of coaching, and how different are you?
The blueprint and the fabric are the same, with the values and the honesty, the integrity, the hard work, the developing them into men when they leave here. are very similar. You know, our personalities are different in some ways, and I think as you go through generations, you know, I think he was in the golden era of coaching. He was coming right off the Dean Smith heels, and they were educators. You know, they were teachers first, and then they were basketball coaches, and they took that whole concept, and their players just loved them, and they developed. And so I think I try to get that from him, that, you know, even with an education background, I want to teach our guys, help our guys become men, and I'm a coach, and hopefully I can do my best to help our guys be successful. So different, but very same with the blueprint and fabric.
Are we going to have questions for either Chancellor Zeppos or?
I got a question first. Dan Phillips, WZTV, welcome to Nashville. The first recruiting job that you have to do is with the guys that are sitting here. There's a potential of a lot of roster changes coming up for next season. How do you handle that? What do you have a plan in place for talking to these guys, working on these guys, keeping these guys around? How does that all play out at this point?
Well, you know, obviously I'd love for everybody to stay, you know, that's here. It's a sensational school. They're going to get a sensational degree. You know, I think if this team stays in place, something special can happen next year with them. You know, myself going through the draft process, being drafted 16th in the NBA, you know, is a great blessing. But there's a stress and there's a process that goes through that. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, players are coming here to earn a great degree and then to achieve their goals, whether it's in the workplace or, you know, professional basketball right away. And so that's something, you know, I would talk to the players and we would go through. And obviously I love to keep them all here, but, you know, they need to do what's best for them and their family. And so those are conversations that we'll have together and try to work through. And if I can convince them, obviously, I think everyone down here knows for our team meeting, we'd love to have them and love to try to be a very special team out here on the scoreboard field.
It's maybe tough for you to comment on too, but you have two signees, Elon Brown and Peyton Willis. Have you been able to speak to those guys yet?
You know, just everything happened so quick. Got here, got with the team, and as soon as we're done here, that'll be my next cause.
Yeah, Ken Segura, Atlanta Constitution. I welcome you to live here. There's a school from a few hours south of here that was also interested in you. I was curious as to how close was that decision, and also you mentioned that you felt like Vanderbilt really wanted you, you know, from a whole package standpoint. I'm just going to clarify, is that, do you get a sense that they wanted you in that way more than other schools?
No, you know, this whole last 3 weeks was a bit of a whirlwind. Our team was still playing the NIT. And we made the Madison Square Garden and we're the runner-up. And so, you know, when our season was done, you know, obviously I had some conversations, different things like that with Vanderbilt being the last one. And just going through the process, you know, with my wife, as we went through everything, we just really, really loved the people and the community and the opportunity here at Vanderbilt University.
As far as facilities are concerned, when you see Memorial Gym and practice gyms and weight rooms, what do you like about it and what do you think needs to be improved on?
You know, I'm very big on our team being as good as we can, being successful. And what makes it, I think this place is incredible, first of all. I think it's a definite home court advantage. You know, I think the renovations were beautiful that they did. But it doesn't matter how nice an arena is, if the product isn't good, and there's nobody in the stands and nobody yelling for you in a good way, then it doesn't matter how nice the facilities are. I think this facility is tremendous, and I think if you get it filled and get people yelling here on an every game basis, then it's going to be one of the best in the country.
Austin Stanley, 94-9 Game 2. What's it been like for you learning to coach from the baselines?
You know, it's definitely going to be an adjustment. You know, it's something I'll probably talk to some former coaches here and get some ideas. I know they've changed the rules. I guess you can come out here a little bit of the way. And so we might have to tweak some things in the first half, but the second half it should be pretty nice coaching the second half. The better thing is obviously the other side has to deal with it a lot more than we do because they only get to do it once a year. We get to do it, you know, many times during the year. So it'll be something neat. I'll probably talk to some people to get some ideas.
Time for one or two more, and then if anybody has questions for the administration.
Bryce, I know family is a big deal to you. You played for your dad, and coached with your brother, been around him. First part, how tough was that to leave your home and sort of your family in some ways in Valparaiso? The second, your brother's on the schedule next year. How do you feel about playing that game? Is that one that you would maybe try to get out of?
Well, the first question, I mean, it's definitely difficult. Anytime you're at a place for a long time, you build deep relationships and you go through, dreams together and you accomplish some and maybe come short on a few. It's definitely emotional. I met with our team yesterday and I was crying like a baby for a lot of the time, just because of the sensational kid that they have and the relationship you build over 3-4 years. And that's something that no matter where I'm at, I want to build those type of relationships. And when you leave somewhere, you should have tears, because that means that you love what you've done, you love the people, and you love going through that process together. As far as the scheduling, I don't know what all the schedule is next year, so obviously it's something we'll sit down and go through. I think my parents would be extremely, extremely hard on to sit and watch that game, so we'll have to see what happens.
Any more for Coach? Any for the administration? Okay, with that, thank you very much for attending.
Thank you all very much.